strong games? Do you give him those comfort picks? We saw Impact, how well he performed on the Maokai, against Gnar as more of a split pusher. Do you want to give him that again? There's a lot of problems because there's so many good players who have very big champion pools.
Well, we'll see what changes here in this particular ban phase. Aurelion Sol and Kalista banned by Cloud9.
Yeah.
Jarvan and Rakan is finally going to find himself on the ban list.
A little surprised by C9's banning of the Kalista. I think that opens up CLG to throw a ban at Rakan when otherwise it would have been earmarked for the Kalista, which is something that almost any team is willing to first pick. So, little curious move by C9 there, but they are, as we mentioned, one game away from qualifying to the World Championship.
One ban coming though here for phase one. Cloud9 stick with Gnar actually, so trying to protect some of those tanks for impact in top lane.
And Cloud9 could simply be looking at it as, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Just go back to this Trana. If CLG is going to keep giving it to us, just keep going to the Zame AD carry. No reason to actually mix it up, even though Kalista is very strong.
CLG, one ban left, and there's Cho'Gath. So one of those tanks who kind of seen targeted away from impact is going to be taken off the board. So Maokai is still here. Something like Trist, if they want it, they can take here as well. There's a lot of potential picks here, and that one too.
And this is where they kind of have to have the conversation of like, do we want Xayah or Trist? Even though traditionally now, Xayah is the higher priority, specifically with how much engage there is, being able to dodge out of a lot of that with Feather Storms and turn it around. Something Stixxay wasn't able to do last game, which is why you might consider giving it over, but I think it's the wise choice to pick it here.
The insta-lock on Maokai is pretty interesting. And I'm not sure if this is going to go to Darshan or Omar, because Omar has actually played it as recently as yesterday in the qualifier. So certainly someone who really does prioritize those tank junglers. At the same time, Darshan, although he is maybe more known for his split push style play, is a fantastic team fighter and often plays that style.
Okay, well, I like the Trist from CLG. It's kind of the simple answer. Thresh is the obvious support choice here for C9 with Rakan gone. But Shen's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think CLG take Taliyah here.
It's a very early pick of Shen, but if they go with Taliyah, then the Shen can match that decently well. It's almost like they're preemptively trying to block a Taliyah from Huhi, but there's a lot going on with that Shen pick.
Unless the Taliyah is going to be just going to the Shen, right? If you feel that you can just attack the Shen themselves, then it can be hard to actually match those roams. I do think that Shen is almost daring CLG to be, pick a split pusher again, right? See if he'll go for it again. But in this case, I actually don't think they have to, because I do think that Maokai matches up incredibly well against the Shen. I think that you outscale him very hard. I don't think the Shen can actually bully you in lane either. So to me, that's actually a very good matchup for Darshan.
Well, I like the All-Star pick for CLG, saying we don't want to get cut off from supports potentially, so take it here and save mid lane for later. The last time we traded 4 bans in phase 2, I think Cloud9 won pretty handily on the mid lane pick. I mean, Victor's a fine champion, but it is a big fallback for Huhi.
Yeah, Huhi had a great game on it for sure, but Jensen again came out ahead. The fact that there were so many bans, even to just get them to those champions, also speaks to the respect that CLG is giving Jensen in the mid lane. The second phase, pretty exclusively at mid lane bans so far in this series.
Well, there's the Taliyah I suspected, so CLG will see if they feel freed up for something else. There's the Cassio ban. And now I think Cloud9 are thinking, does Stixxay feel like playing Lucian? They haven't really been comps for it. They've wanted to play more team fighting, but potentially opened up here if C9 don't want to take it away. And both these mid lanes actually have very wide champion pools. Huhi, obviously, famously an ocean in a lot of ways, but Jensen, despite being top heavy, is flexible as well.
And I mean, the funny thing to me is with all these bans, there's still Corki and Orianna on the table, who are two of the most absolute meta champions in the mid lane, right? And we could very well just see that matchup.
Yeah, also Galio is available, although there's not the Jarvan to combo it with. Unlikely that we get to see that this early, and it's going to be the Orianna once again for CLG.
I like the takeaway here, but what does Jensen have? A lot of the picks he might want to play are actually banned away already. So I like this takeaway from CLG, is giving Huhi Orianna once again and denying it from Jensen.
Yeah, once again, I like the concept of the takeaway as I did in game 1, but the execution did not pay off for them there. Huhi had a very ineffective game, splitting farm until getting ganked and then not landing big shockwaves in teamfights. So the respect you have to give Jensen pushes you into that Orianna pick, and now it's on Huhi to execute.
So they are going to take a little bit more time to think about their mid lane pick. I'm still expecting that it could be simply that Corki, as they were hovering, and I do think that is very, very common. There are obviously a number of other champions that Jensen can play, but really all his most played are off the table. Orianna was by far his most played. That's taken away. The Syndra is banned away. The Cassio's banned away. The Talia's banned away. So it should just be the Corki and his.
Yep, Gragas as well is kind of a nice one there for a contract. We'll speak him with that champion instead. But like you said, we set up the flexibility of Makai all the way from CLG's first overall pick. So if Darshan wants Jax, he can have Jax.
I can, but I really just feel like if you just pick Sejuani here, yeah, I like that so much more. I just think that the 5v5 composition from Counter Logic Gaming is so ridiculously good with this setup that you don't need to risk it all on a Jax. Straight up, you can beat them in 5v5. You have Orianna, you have the Tristana, they both scale well. You have your AP, your AD, a massive amount of frontline. All three who can engage very heavily. Like, this is just a good team.
I agree. It's an insane team fighting composition for CLG. Large amounts of engage, and that's the way C9 has been playing. They've been trying to force the team fight. So CLG makes their biggest pivot of the entire series. They say, we're not going to try and have this stylistic mismatch for you. Okay, C9, take these split pushing aid tools and pick compositions. We're just going to get a huge amount of people that you don't care if you can hook or not because they're so tanky and try and fight you that way. So I do like what Zix has done for CLG in this draft, but now it's a matter of executing and trying to win the team fights against C9.
And if we've seen slow games already, so we now say that the onus is on Cloud9 to play a little bit faster in this game because they've felt like they've had the comfort, a bit more late game, a bit more engaged, but CLG's 5v5 looks so horrifying to play against.
It really does. And while all these frontliners from CLG can absorb the initiation that comes in, when you play a comp that's a two-threat comp, if Cloud9 can make the play, land that hook on a Tristana and immediately kill them, or get that body slam on Hui and knock him in, then you're oftentimes left with very little damage and few ways to win a fight.
Well, we'll have to see. CLG have had a pretty smooth postseason ever since they're showing in Boston at the TD Garden, but it has been a rough ride so far in this series as we'll have a pause to start things off. What a moment.
Yeah, well, it gives us a little bit more time to talk about C9's composition.
Top laners, man. They're going to fix these cup mechanics.
I think this is grounds for mandatory sippy cups. I think mandatory sippy cups are coming in soon to an LCS stage near you, but we shall see. To speak about C9's team composition, if a lot of water got in the keyboard, they would either have a spare keyboard in the back or just make sure that one is still working.
So the real question is, what should the meta be? Should it be sippy cups, or what do you think about twirly straws?
I like twirly straws.
I mean, I'm personally a fan of twirly straws. I would be okay with a massive twirly straw that's just right up to the player's mouth.
I like the old Gatorade bottles.
Those are also
fill
good.
them with water. Although when you start putting, like, you can't reuse them that well because the nozzle gets really sticky if you have, like, energy drinks in there or something. So it's tricky. That's why they use the disposable coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, players have not learned to behave just yet.
Anyway.
But it looks like Impact's keyboard's drying out, so should be back in soon.
This is an elimination game for CLG, and the fact that if they lose, their chances at Worlds go away. And the history that both of these teams have at Worlds is pretty pronounced. I mean, CLG makes it almost every year, save for one. C9 has made it every year of their organization since 2013. 8 of these players on stage today were at Worlds last year. Only 4 of them from this stage are going to be moving on. So the pressure is definitely on. And so far this series, C9 has stepped up to the pressure.
Certainly have looked good so far, but we'll see what happens here in game number 3. CLG going to have to run it all the way back. And we'll start here in this third one. C9, they'll be very happy to go home early, punching that World's ticket, but not going to be an easy one. If game 2 is any indicator, this series is only getting more tense as the games roll on, despite the scoreline lead for Cloud9.
Yeah, winner of the series as well goes into the play-in stage of Worlds, so they would actually end up playing fairly soon. In about 2 weeks, the play-in stage would start for them to try and qualify into the Worlds group stage.
And these teams, whoever wins, is very likely also going to be heading straight to Korea to start their boot camp, with a lot of teams have already headed over there. So it's definitely going to be a very busy couple weeks for the victor.
Well, right now, just have to focus on this series.
Contract snuck around.
Ooh, very nice. Gets the body slam, but the hook not quite there from Smoothie. Going to force the rocket jump away, but not going to hurt 6A too much. As Afro having a little fun.
Yeah, hurts his level 1 that he had to skill rocket jump right away instead of being able to get the explosive charge early on, but the miscalc on the hook from Smoothie definitely a little costly.
Well, looks like Contract's in onto these Raptors. Jensen going to help out with, I think, a single Q, maybe an auto or two, but C9 going to keep their bottom lane aggressively forward in the actual lane itself. So Contract not nearly as much help as he got before. Omar on the other side is getting assistance from Darshan. Looks like some saplings helping out here.
Yeah, mixing up the jungle start and Sejuani switching to the Talisman instead of the Machete because he'd have the Maokai saplings to help him with Raptors. So going to help him power through the jungle. A lot of times you do see the Machete from the Sejuani because you can just burst down the blue and the red buff so quickly.
Recalibrated the hook as well for Smoothie. Slapstick stay in the face with it. Getting a nice little early trade down.
So as you said, this is not going to be explosive shot level 1 for Tristana. So oftentimes without the explosive shot, you kind of have to sacrifice the push. You have to let it come to you. But in this case, it seems like they still are able to actually maintain that push. And they may try to rush to level 2, in which case it won't really matter.
Seems like both will hit level 2 around the same time.
The race is on.
Yeah.
Fudge stacks are there. Smoothie has one left, but doesn't need it. And there's the 2. But pretty quickly matched there from CLG, so not too many fireworks. Back down in the dual lane. Jensen getting aggressive onto Huhi. Nice trade back there. QW combo there from the Orianna. So we'll see if Jensen can maybe find a bit more lane pressure. He's been, I would say, surprisingly reserved for Jensen, despite having good pressure.
Cloud9 in general have been surprisingly reserved in the early games. It has not really, despite expectations, been about crazy early pressure in that mid lane, and Jensen has not been dominating Huhi.
Yeah, definitely not. A lot of times, some people overlook Huhi being really good, especially with the way he's performed in the playoffs and regional qualifiers. So definitely matching Jensen in a lot of the laning phase ways. But Omar snuck through the Dragon Pit. Gonna look for a fight.
Aphromoo has flash. Will he actually commit it?
Very sneaky. Knockup lands in onto Sneaky. Smoothie going to try and get out of the way. Didn't quite match up the CC. Another hook. He's going to find Omar taking one turret shot.
Yeah, not on the same page there at all. They don't even get so much as a summoner as Omar goes for Sneaky. The bot lane actually goes for the support there as well. So
Yeah.
I would have had to be fully committed to make something happen.
That's a bit of a worrying gank there for CLG, mainly because from the position of C9, you're expecting something good to happen from CLG right there, being able to get both of their initiators in melee range of who they're going for. That is also an example of why we don't see Omar God gank bottom lane that often in successful CLG games. They have not been able to develop that synergy between Omar God and Aphromoo to make the plays happen.
Contracts in the meantime is stealing away this Krug camp in a ding level 4. Not too far behind Omar. He's continuing his jungle route after a bit of a failed gank in that bot lane. And we'll see if Contracts wants more off of this, but he's going to find Omar soon. Contracts again pretty far extended. He's going to look for the Sejuani. Raptor is back up, and Jensen did push the mid lane, but here comes a 2v2. Contract's going to start things off. Proxy shield from Courage, and Jensen's here as well.
Even Contracts loses the trade.
Raptors are on Contracts now.
So much damage as well. Passage from Sejuani. He's going to force him to try and steal it away, but Contracts is so low here. He does have his smite. He's going to get the big Raptor, but that looked risky.
Yeah, he had impact right behind him. So I think he was trying to bait Omar God forward, but as you mentioned, very risky because he was very low.
Yeah, Omar actually managed that quite well, kind of maneuvering around so that all of the camp's aggro went over onto Contracts, and big reason why he did get so low on health there.
Extra damage there. Smoothie lands another hook onto Afro, but no real follow-up available from Sneaky given his range. So again, just trying to play up and aggressive, but CS is even there. Impact trading nicely though in this tank matchup, and definitely seems to have control of the Shen matchups in general.
And Darshan's in a pretty awkward spot now because when you're low on mana like this and the wave is held against you, he's very scared of a gank. And Impact is essentially moving forward, threatening that Contracts could be there. What this now forces is Darshan to go back to base, and he must TP in or the wave will be hard frozen against him. So that puts you in an extremely vulnerable spot, and it's always super scary as a top laner to be TPing back into this wave without knowing cover.
Smoothie going to be moved back in, does get a pretty big play down, but he's already stunned. Flash is a little late, and there's first blood for Omar.
All right, the return gank does work. They have so much CC between the Alistair and the Sejuani, and somehow Aphromoo got a headbutt backwards without expending flash, so I'd love to see the start of that one more time. That's about as perfect as you can get a gank set up as an Alistair.
You have to think that Sejuani just snuck in through the bush and maybe actually just hit his stun right away onto Smoothie to set that up, but either way, gonna be able to get that first blood over on Omar is gonna be pretty nice. And oh, Strip walked up to him.
The classic walk up to him and get him. From the side of the brush right there, Smoothie did feel like they had a lot of lane pressure, although Sneaky being low on mana, not the best play by Smoothie there.
No, I mean, when he's just straight up running up to you like that, you have to give him the respect that the jungler is probably in his back pocket, because otherwise it wouldn't really make much sense.
Well, does not respect it, and that gives CLG their third straight first blood in the series.
Oh, they're looking for a dive here, actually. Afro's up top, but Contracts is coming up.
A blue exclamation ping. They kind of know the rotations happen. Darshan with the ultimate already is Impact. Just going to run away from the Brambles. CLG going to try and take the turret instead.
C9 can match this before the turret goes down, though, with how many people they have coming up from the bot lane.
And as a result, C9 hold on, and CLG are the ones actually losing out on this, because if you look to the bot side, that full wave is getting denied to the turret right now, but they're going to try to turn it around.
Smoothie again, still doesn't have his flash after the last play. Shield there from Shen might be enough. Turn around there, a sneak with a lot of AoE, but Afro able to take it down. Great flash from Darshan, and Jensen also up here. Omar able to answer as the cast gets two, but it knocks him out of the boss bomb. Taunt does land, finds Darshan as Jensen, I think, got the donation on the double buffs there. No, not quite. But still a kill for Cloud9.
He's here, Shockwave.
Doesn't have it.
Oh, no.
Barely missing the cooldown. He used it to trade against Jensen in mid lane. That would have been such a good moment for it.
Yeah.
Man, what a close fight right there. Smoothie baiting the fight in as Impact has ultimate and Jensen has teleport. Pretty rare that Jensen brings teleport on Corki rather than a combat summoner spell, but it's so they can try and make map plays like this. That is one thing about the C9 composition when we talk about who the onus is on to make plays. They have the onus to make these global plays happen. Smoothie moves up without his flash, instantly jumped on by Darshan, but everyone else on C9 is pretty close by. Shenolf comes through, can't actually save him, which greatly delays his arrival. He then teleports on a minion to make a late arrival to the fight.
Yeah, and as he gets in, the taunt flash did come down, so they're able to finish off Darshan, but CLG can disengage.
Well, no other kills. Gonna even the gold back up here. Cloud9 still trailing by that single kill. CLG again able to grab that first blood and then a second for themselves. Aphromoo still again roaming very aggressively. Moby Boots already done before his gold generation upgrade or a sidestone, so he is playing to really move out of these lanes this time and have a big impact in the early game.
Certainly is. In the lane assignment, it's going to be pretty interesting here as Sneaky was topside, basing relatively late, and Shen may have trouble kind of clearing this out without giving up some turret damage. 2 sticks there. We'll see how aggressively he wants to try to go for it.
Yeah, CLG can only be as aggressive as their vision permits, unless they get someone showing in a lane where they shouldn't be, because that's a situation with Impact. We always talk about the threat of taunt. Aphromoo not level 6 yet, and Gragas, Xayah, and Thresh were all missing at the time, so they get almost no turret damage on that push.
Actually 3 pulled down here for Cloud9, but just to cover Impact as Sneaky will return to the top lane. Currently laning against the Maokai as Darshan is going to return there. Again, Sneaky should be able to pick up some relatively easy farm.
And a lot of it is also about the experience, right? You do get that solo experience if you are split up from your Thresh, but you have to give over respect to the Maokai, because even though they're similar levels, or actually the same level now, you can lose duels pretty early on as marksman very easily.
Looks like late again to the turret trade here for C9. Sneaky starting it, but Smoothie's not even helping at the moment. Actually just zoning away Darshan.
Yeah, a bit of a mind game going on here, though. Yes, CLG is faster on the turret trade, but Contracts being missing is threatening enough to keep Darshan away from the turret. The question now would be, does Darshan call the bluff here? Because if he goes under the turret and dies with 3-man dive, people are going to say, Darshan, what are you doing? But he would have generally been fine if Gragas isn't there.
Yeah, and he's going to play it safe, and I think this is okay because they're continuing to push on bot side. They're also getting the Ocean Dragon, which is going to be super valuable this early on to the game. And overall, I definitely do feel like it goes CLG's way, unless Cloud9 can get a lot out of the Rift Herald.
Well, they do take it, but it is an objective trade, like you noted, as CLG finished the Ocean Drake at around the same time contracts. Now going to roam up towards the jungle, but does get a ward near the Raptor pit for CLG. Do he able to clear out that control ward, and we're going to settle things back down and see where the next assignment is. You have to think CLG just wanting to keep moving their Tristana around and trying to siege up some of these turrets. 6A with some early purchases is actually going back down to bottom lane, so a little bit safer to farm from at this point. A Sneaky also doing the same thing, excuse me, going back towards that top turret.
Not every day you see a crit cloak picked up this early on for Stixay, so he's actually just trying to rush straight towards the IE, but didn't have the gold for his pickaxe. And in cases like this, you normally just see a couple daggers or a daggers and a brawler's glove, just to go into something like an earlier shiv.
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit curious, but most likely just has to do with how much gold he has left in the game. And again, a relatively slow pace in this game. And CLG have been the proactive ones in making plays. The thing with this game that is different from the last game, though, is the fact that their team fight is so good when they get there. So, yes, they're making these plays early, but as long as COD's not falling behind, I think they're feeling pretty good about this.
Continuing to pull playmakers towards the center of the map as well. Jensen going to have to play pretty carefully here as Sneaky gets the wave pushing. Darshan dead a match. But Smoothie able to pull him out to safety is maybe a big play brewing here in the mid lane. Who he maybe just finds a shockwave. Contract's also here. But CLG now come out of the brush. I'm going to have to respect the shockwave.
4 members from C9 here, though, and you have to remember Shen can join with the Stand United, so you always have to give respect to the extra man advantage that C9 has. And they're going to go for the Rift Herald here. They're actually just going to try to make a big play on that mid lane turret. Even though it's very healthy, they may be able to knock it down as Sheen is already picked up from Jensen. Flank perhaps coming in, though.
Noma's got ult.
Just a charge.
Doesn't look safe at all. Cloud9 like, all right, maybe a bit of a misstep on that play. Rift Herald goes down. A decent amount of damage done to the turret, but it not being dead's not really worth it.
Yeah, half a mid turret, probably not worth an Ocean Drake in a trade if you're trying to justify the use of Rift Herald in that sense. But they didn't have many better options. They were hoping that Omar God was off clearing the jungle. When he wasn't, and he shows mid, it means C9 can't continue that push.
Certainly does. In situations like that, I almost always just favor, what if you just hold on to it? The threat of it is almost worth more than that to me, and if you happen to get a pick, then you almost always at least get the one turret.
Yep.
I'll give that Rift Herald a meh out of 10.
Certainly not great as Jensen continuing to receive pressure here. That does open up the long lane here in top for C9. But now CLG are going to rotate again. Aframu and Omar God sticking together. They have so much CC between the two of them that Sinan have to stay careful and grouped to try and avoid any sort of pick-off. And he's pressuring a lot of these lanes, especially mid. Jensen having to play back in farm, and C9 don't have quite enough to bust open Darshan in the top lane. So a lot of movement here back and forth towards the top and mid section of the map.
It's really interesting how they've essentially just traded sides. It almost looks like one of the lane swap games of old, where teams have completely sacrificed one side of the jungle to the other team. And it's essentially the Cloud9 top side of the map and the CLG bottom side of the map. That's where they're farming. That is where they are respecting each other's team's power. But 6A, he is getting quite a lot. He's been down here for a long time. He's getting a fair bit of experience, and I think CLG are happy with this because of their composition.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because who should benefit more from a split map like this where they're squishing things like a Tristana split pushing? Probably the double TP team that has a Corki with package, but it's not. It's been CLG because 6A's been able to get free time on turrets with explosive charge, and because Aframu has made more plays than Smoothie. So for the most part, this game working out very well for CLG.
I think part of that is because of the good planning and the good lane assignments from CLG. They're putting their susceptible member of the Tristana with the Shen, so the Shen cannot make a play elsewhere. Someone would have to come to him, but that is very difficult because of the vision control that CLG had established on that side of the map. So definitely some intelligent play from them, and all things considered, CLG scaling up quite strongly. As we know, C9 certainly can turn the game around on a dime.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 2 games so far in this series, and all the early games have been neck and neck from a gold perspective, and then it's been C9 who's made the plays in the mid or late game to drive it to victory. It's been a very competitive series for a 2-0, right? It's much closer than the 2-0 would dictate, and that just puts more pressure on CLG, right? They're going to feel like they've played relatively well or made a lot of plays that could put them in a position to win, but just been unable to actually get the W. So far, it doesn't look like that's making them press too hard. Oftentimes, that does happen in best of 5.
There's another trade here by the looks of things. CLG will be slower to this play. Afro gets pulled up to threaten the dive on impact, but result is effectively the same. Outer turrets fell on the top and bot side. CLG and C9 respectively. Now C9 can rotate into that mid lane, but Omar again babysitting there in the mid lane. Able to keep Kuhi nice and safe, and not really an angle here. In fact, Contracts probably shouldn't be recalling there, but looks like CLG aren't going to check for him.
Yeah, it's just hard to know as CLG how many members are still around. Is it Sneaky by himself? Is it Contracts by himself? Are there 3 there perhaps even? So just going to be playing it pretty carefully, especially as the wave clear. You know, Kuhi, if he goes down in a situation like that, the mid lane turret then becomes very vulnerable, especially because it was chunked down from the Rift Herald earlier.
Well, Impact doesn't quite have the full wave clear built up just yet. No Barmy Cinder to really help out. So Styx actually gets a lot of free time on those waves, and CLG is shadowing his top side. Hook lands in after the taunt from Impact. Sneaky, able to get the pick off. Goodbye, Styx.
Tom Flash makes a big play onto Styx right there, unable to react. They're going to continue this play.
Contract might have found Hui, but a good flash going to get him out. The flash forward to move Shen in after the stage. Taunt lands point blank, and Hui goes down to Jensen.
Just like that, C9 turning it on. The taunt flash followed up by the taunt hook, and then a body slam flash. They knocked both the carries off the map for CLG. It's going to be a full court press here for C9 because there's no threat really coming out of the remaining CLG members.
Yeah, the minions enough to buy them time to take that Rift Herald weakened mid turret, and looks like respawn timers should be enough for them to move down towards Drake, but maybe not with the way Sneaky shoved out that top lane. C9 actually just going to go for a recall here instead of trying to secure that Ocean Drake.
No overplay here from C9. Just take their gold and get out. After claiming the turret lead once again, Omar going to move back to get that vision out, but going to need to get a little deeper to try and prevent those plays.
Yeah, and that's been kind of the story of the series for C9. There's a lot of situations where we look at and say, hey, maybe they could have gone for a little bit more, but what we haven't necessarily seen is, oh, C9's done too much and that backfired. So in that way, they are playing safe and effective, and since they are up 2-0, they're saying there's no reason to take a big risk.
Yeah, and it speaks a lot to their confidence. They never feel the pressure to finish out the game. They know that there will be other opportunities. They will be able to make another good play to then close out the game. So they're happy to always take these smaller advantages.
Certainly feeling very refined. Again, using that time off to prepare and really come in. One of the smoothest we've ever seen the team, to be honest. Ocean Drake going to go over. Contract's able to solo that one out with maybe a bit of help, but CLG again, not able to get to the area safely enough with the vision that C9 had been very dutifully putting down. And Jensen, who did delay his spike a little bit by going Hex Jinker for his lane, does now have the Trinity Force and the Sork Shoes finished. So the early gold does give C9 some power. They've got a gold lead that's sitting at about 1,000, so it's not a huge lead, but with the pace that C9 have played the whole series with, I think they're at least trusting themselves that they know how much and when they need to be pushing the game. And right now, they just don't need to be.
And it's always kind of funny to me. It just always feels like no matter what the lane state was, Jensen is the guy who picks up the kills. You know, you look at the Syndra game, it's like, oh, he's doing great. You know, he's right ahead of Jensen. Well, Jensen now got 4 kills out of 4. In this case, again, getting those early 2 kills, pushing him to an earlier power spike. Jensen is again in a position to take over team fights.
Yeah, there is an art to getting the last hits on champions because Jensen has picked up these kills
Seriously, yeah.
in team fights.
I
And
agree.
Jensen is absolutely the best at it in the league because every time there's 3 or 4 people in a fight, you usually see Jensen walk away with the kills. And it shows in his stats as well. Like if you add kills and assists, he's not that far ahead of a lot of other mid laners. But if you just track kills in the regular season, he was like 50 up on other people. And a lot of that is because of his last hitting
The
of
art
champions.
of the KDA.
Pretty much.
Something like that. Certainly off to a pretty good start here. Flank
Start
start
on. Yeah, he could throw out the Maokai ult here and look for the dive or even just spread them off as a zoning tool.
Time to leave. Dodging around the brambles too. He puts the ball down. Great bit of siege there from CLG. They'll take down the mid outer turret, even it back up.
And I just love that use of the Maokai ultimate. It's so strong because you can't just stand there and absorb the root or the dive will come in. And if you back off, you give up the turret to the strong siege of the Tristana. So really smart from them. Oh, we're gonna miss.
Boots mobility and an instant change of direction makes that look real bad.
Yeah.
As he thought Smooth was going to roam through, but did not.
Gets out, and a 1-3-1 actually in effect for C9. Contract now looking to make the play. Impact has found Huhi. Hello. He's going to get some damage down. Huhi just going to have to keep running. A lot of damage actually from the Shen. The taunt in from Impact. Might even go all the way for the dive. Shockwave blends in, but he goes close side as Darshan finally able to root him up. A big man advantage for Cloud9 though.
Yeah, I mean, huge pressure swing there for C9 now. There's no ult or ghost on the Ori, and Darshan showed bottom, plus flash. Like, that's so much of CLG's power gone.
Yeah, it really is. And their wave clear's back in base, so they're just going to walk straight up, knock down this turret.
No fear of Omar God's ulti either. Used it to try and pick Smoothie and missed. So Cloud9 take the turret lead once again. Mid 2-2 goes down.
And Pacer Time, you mentioned the 1-3-1, which really, when you look at the composition, is the way C9 wants to play. It's just not a way that they have played successfully pretty much at all in the summer split, but that was a moment where they stretched the map pretty well with the two solo laners, and that set up Impact's ability to sneak into the brush and make that play out of Huhi.
And it's just not stopping. Jensen actually here. That should be the damage to maybe fell the tree. Darshan is going to get out of the way. Burns the ulti. Impact flashes in there. Does get a little bit more CC down. And Darshan finally dies to contract. Jensen can't get that last hit. Maybe bought enough time there as Huhi tries to line up the ulti that he doesn't quite have yet. Stun the one to Impact Spirit's Refuge. Buys him a few more precious seconds. A hook only finds Zapro. Shockwave is back available. Box down. Great huge two-man player. Smoothie is going to just go down. Jensen still fighting, gets the kill, and now Sneaky gets the counter go on the back end. Omar is going to fall down as well. That's contracts to collect them all. Sneaky, one last auto, grabs Omar God.
Oh man, 4 kills, all things considered, for C9 and 2 deaths. So still a 1 fight for them, depending on how well they can match this Stixxay push.
I mean, they already knocked down the turret, so consider it matched. If Stixxay gets this, that's at least getting something back for them. But, I mean, Darshan, as you said, committing the flash earlier, trying to save Huhi, that means he can't get out. He certainly would have been able to survive in this play with that summoner spell. He does a pretty good job of actually delaying and staying alive. But maybe underestimating the threat.
Darshan just trying to get a little bit of map pressure back, but absolutely underestimating the threat. No control in the jungle. C9 send 3 people here. And just as we talk about Jensen's ability to last hit champions, Contracts gets 3 kills in a fight with body slam flaps right there. But the rest of it does continue with Huhi getting his shockwave back up, which potentially catches C9 off guard. The Shen ult used so offensively right there, so a lot of overshield almost for Jensen, but they are able to turn it around at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a great shockwave, but they don't have enough damage to actually knock Jensen out of the fight. And C9 had seen that Tristana was top lane. And with the Tristana up there, you fully commit to that. They know there's no chance of it getting turned around, and that is one of the weaknesses we discussed of these 2-threat comps. Tristana's not there, Huhi goes down. Well, what else do you have?
At that point, nothing. And that's why Cloud9 were able to scoop up a teamfight victory. Now 2,000 gold ahead, threatening the left side and trying to get vision in onto the Baron. C9 have been very proactive, stopping that side lane free farm from Stixxay. Whereas in the games that they've run the Trist, they've been able to protect Sneaky to get his farm. So Cloud9 kind of playing both sides of the style in some respects. Although Contracts may be too far forward. Headbutt.
He's a really tanky Gragas.
DP in behind from Impact.
Gets aggressive. Darshan also a little too far forward in the lane. Impact just gonna run them around, but Darshan gets his ult immune by Sneaky's Featherstone and gets weirded on the other side. The hook into the box, and Darshan is gonna stay alive for as long as possible. Finally, his death is sealed by Sneaky, and Jensen, he wants in.
And what do they do from here? 35 seconds on Darshan's death timer. All ultimates up for CLG, so difficult to force a Baron very hard, but they can at least feint it to try and get initiation.
Yeah, CLG needs to stay close enough to stop them from doing the Baron and far away enough to not get engaged on. Darshan going to be up in 15 and will have teleport, so it seems like the play is diffusing.
Yeah, but as you see from CLG vision, there's no way of knowing if the Baron is being taken down or not. One thing that's happened with CLG this game is Huhi has gone for the sweeper every single game, so they only have 1 Farsight totem.
That's the grab on the Aframu ulti there. Actually stuns up the tank. Contracts in the front line. He's going to find it. Sneaky getting bounced around. Here's enough damage to Stixxay. He's going to get the reset, but Jensen still firing away. Darshan back in business as Smoothie caught out. He's going to fall to Huhi. CLG, they find the team fight win. 5v3. C9 trying to get away.
If they get the jungle, they could get Baron here.
They're going to get Contract. By the look of things, a shutdown for Stixxay.
This is huge for CLG to get control of this game. You would expect the Baron to go over them. Still 5 strong. Flashes up on Hui and Stixxay. Pretty impossible for C9 to stop this.
Jensen poking where he can, but I don't think he can stop the Baron. Certainly can't steal it. He's going to stay around, do what he can to be a nuisance, but no hope other than that. And there's Baron over to CLG.
CLG just handled that so well. They're able to delay for enough time that Darshan is almost coming up. And then the fact that the initiation is absorbed here by Aphromoo finds the beautiful shockwave combo with Aphromu's headbutt pulverize.
Yeah, and then since Darshan is alive, he teleports in and has the home guard bonus so he can reinitiate onto Smoothie. And when we talk about CLG's 2-threat composition, it exists on the other side too. So the fact that they caught Sneaky, it completely took the threat away from the rest of C9 and allowed CLG to just continue to pile off.
Smart of them to kill the jungler as well. Darshan actually flashed over the wall just to secure his death, but Contracts fell down. CLG were able to claim the Baron as a result, and looks like they'll get the Cloud Drake as well. So 4 turrets to 5 right now. C9 still holding that turret lead, but I'm pretty sure not for too much longer as he grabs the blue. It is siege time for Counter Logic Gaming.
It really is, and the 1-3-1 gets shut down very heavily by the Baron, because you talk about how they want to be out on the side lanes, controlling the waves, threatening those turrets, but CLG forces you to group when they have the Baron.
And you wonder how quickly C9 would want to go for a fight. They do have Flash on Impact. If he can get onto Stixxay or Hui, we know they're willing to pull the trigger.
Okay, so have Flash for CLG as well, so C9 don't want to be too aggressive. They've been pretty well paced with their decisions this series so far, but now with a lot of pressure, Cast going to Afro, who burns the ulti. Ulti there lands in onto Jensen from Omar. His Impact taking a lot on the front side, but Stixxay, he may have caught Contracts. Omar flashes in to get the stun and lands it. Damage is there. Stixxay able to take one down.
C9 just can't fight through that corridor with the shockwave available, so despite the fact that they felt they caught Aphromoo, he pops the ultimate and they simply turn it around onto Contracts.
Yeah, the Courage shield from that headbutt pulverized re-engaged by Afro was also massive and didn't allow C9 to close it down. So it looked like they may have a good fight there, but now there's a huge wave on the top side, and C9's actually abandoning mid lane for now just to make sure they don't lose 2 inhibitors.
Jensen going to take the farm. He does have TP. We'll have to use it pretty early. In fact, can't even commit fully to the wave. The CLG already onto this mid inhibitor turret. It should fall.
Yeah. So hard to stop this triple frontline Tristana team when they have an edge.
And certainly ahead and getting further ahead for CLG. They'll take down the mid inhib.
And one of the terrifying parts about this is they already have a massive wave in the bot lane if CLG wants to go down there. It looks like they are going to make the call to reset, though, and spend their gold, as they had quite a bit in the pockets. And here is the play again. They do want to kind of get this chip down onto Aphromoo. The initial play is good, but committing the cast onto him, he simply turns around, gets the Courage shield, pops the ultimate, and then how do you fight through the potential of the shockwave?
Yeah, and any time you get isolated against a late game Trist, you're probably going to die. He can rocket jump forward, he's going to stack up his explosive charge on you and kill you eventually. Contract's also fairly heavy in magic resist right now in this game because he's more worried about the burst damage. He just can't get caught out and isolated like he did there.
And CLG still demolishing turrets here as they move to bot side. They found Impact. They've got enough to at least take some of his health away. Stixxay with the last whisper already done. He is very strong right now.
It's up to the playmakers of C9 now. Can Contracts actually find the right cast? Can Smoothie get the hook on the carry? Because if they cannot, they will lose this inhibitor as well.
Well, CLG, Baron buff dropping all but off. Omar has it for a few precious seconds longer. And there's Darshan with the ulti again. The siege started by CLG. Turret should go down if they need to get a few more shots. Jensen with the flank trying to ward them off.
The threat of package, but if Jensen does jump in, he's probably dead, so he can't use it.
At least get some poke damage down, forcing CLG back for another wave. Backdoor bonus is active, but tanky enough on the Maokai to try and take it down. Stixxay needs a few more shots. Gonna have to wait for one more wave.
This could be the wave that C9 decides to fight on.
Has to be if they want to. They need to go now.
Ulti looks for Stixxay, doesn't find it. Grab onto Darshan, but Afro back in, finds the carries again. Oh, shot comboed in, the turret falls in and amongst the mix. Now Stixxay looping forward to try and take out Contracts as Sneaky. The only carry left alive. Jensen got deleted in that team fight and Impact. He's left out to dry.
What an engage there from Aphromoo, and the follow-up is there from CLG. They're going to walk the super minions in, and they will push us to a game 4.
Certainly going to try to. Gonna try and end the game right now. Do up the bot in hit if they need it for some insurance, but looks like that's not the case. Sneaky caught out of there. Don't take the lantern out after the Feather Storm. Pulls it back. Finds the stun for contract into Huhi, but he just does not have enough. Omar able to take him down. Stixate threatening. Leaps on a Sneaky, and that should be game here for CLG. Just not enough here for Cloud9. They're going to do the formalities, take down the Nexus turrets, but Jensen with 10 seconds left will not be able to save the base this time. CLG finally on the board. One game closer to sweeping their way back to Worlds.
And we talked during the pick and ban phase that this was the first major pivot CLG had made in this series, picking a massive front line, not dilly-dallying with any 1-3-1 or split push strategies, and just brawling with C9. It was very close, much like games 1 and 2, but when it came down to the brass tacks of this game, it was 5v5 team fights, and that's where CLG was superior.
And that's where they shined, and so much credit over to Aphromoo, finding the combos in multiple team fights, multi-man knockups, comboed with the shockwave from Huhi. That is impressive initiations, and that really is Aphromoo at his best.
I think in general, both Smoothie and Afro are such good playmakers, and I think of Rakan and Alistar as serving a lot of similar purposes. So the fact that one got banned and Afro got the other, I mean, Smoothie's splash is very good, but it was not nearly the same level of playmaking that Afro was enabled with.
He was paper in teamfights when compared to Aphromoo. I mean, Smoothie could never engage the way Aphromoo could, and that just made it so difficult for the damage dealers to get what they needed to get done.
And it's so hard, as you discussed at the start of the game, because you can't just hook anyone. You have to hook 2 people, and there's 3 in front that you don't want to get. So it's so hard for Smoothie. Wasn't able to find those targets.
Well, now for an in-depth look at how CLG made this a series, let's send it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. No 3-0 today, no clean sweep for C9. CLG not ready to give up their World's hopes just yet. Picking up the win here in Game 3, and as the guys mentioned, a shift in Champions League, a shift in terms of focus for how they would play through the game, recognizing that they had lost the previous 2 games when it came to the team fights. Now we're going to make sure that we draft to actually stack up in those team fights.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, too, being the ban on the Rakan. It was basically what was instigating Stixate at the start of a lot of these fights.
Right.
You take that big threat off of them. Aphromoo on Alistar is still able to have a similar influence on the game. When he sees people clumped up, he can punish them right away, but you no longer have to worry about that, as well as the fact that anytime you have a triple tank comp with Orianna, that is very, very powerful.
Right.
And as long as you don't fall behind too far, your tanks will almost always outperform the other team's tanks.
Yeah, I definitely do also, though, have to question some of the moves made by C9 in Champions Select, because when you see the Tristana Maokai Alistar locked in that first rotation, to me it feels fairly evident that CLG is making a shift in focus. Why not look for some hybrid damage, more hybrid damage coming from the mid lane, and or a stronger team fighting mage?
It's tough to say. There were so many mid bans here. I mean, we were thinking during Champions Select, like, what do you really take here? There's so much that's off the table between the Talia, Syndra, Cassia, Ori taken away, Lucian ban.
Right.
It's hard to find one, and so I'm okay with the Corki. I would just potentially maybe want to see the Ori taken away as well, instead of maybe the Talia. We haven't seen too much of a preference for it for pretty much any team in playoffs since those nerfs came in. So, you know, of course CLG might play it and they can win with it, but I'm just saying that with the comp that you've seen so far, they are not a team that wants to snowball top or bot side from what you can tell in their draft, and you're more scared of a shield on a tank than you are a Talia snowballing a tank.
And at the end of the day, the way these 2 compositions break down, right? CLG comfortable to go till late. It was obvious there, the way they played it out. Happy to kind of just let the game slowly move along, making sure they're picking up the farm on the right carries. The onus was on C9 to get things done early. They were able to make a few plays. They were able to get a few kills into their back pockets in the early stages of the game. But outside of that, we really saw them struggle to create a gap between the gold values of both teams.
Right. I think it was a game where, you know, CLG has been playing the first 10 minutes pretty well. So once again, they get, I think it was like 2 kills to 1 based off that. And then in the mid game, C9 is working better as a team. So there was a big skirmish down the bot side. All 5 members clap. Sneaky runs all the way across the map. And you see Stixay just kind of say, never mind, I'm going to go top lane. Yeah, so he doesn't join his team. That goes in C9's favor. So you get another one of these very, very scrappy games. But the big thing is, when C9 is pressuring, trying to really close this game out around Baron, they stumble for, I believe, the first time in this series.
And I think that's probably where you can point to the fact that they knew they needed to close the game out, right? They knew they needed to make something happen in order to extend that goal lead. CLG recognizing that, they picked the right fight at 26 minutes into the game. They pick up a 3-0 plus the Baron and total control of the game.
And this is why we're talking about Aphromoo having having that ability to find the engage at the right time. He sees Jensen and Sneaky on top of each other, headbutt Pulve combo with that Orianna Shockwave on top. This is something that Huhi and Afro have great synergy on. That doesn't win them the fight right away, but it gets them an advantage and enough time for Darshan to respawn, teleport back in, and then that's where this triple tank front line starts to become a huge nuisance. And they're able to chase down and get the rest of these kills. They grab the Baron off the back of it, and that's pretty much game over.
Right, neither of the AD carries on the side of C9 able to build that Blade of the Rune King, so they're not necessarily able to eat through the high health targets on the side of CLG very easily. And when one carry dies, one backliner versus two backliners, we know who's going to win out in that case.
Yep.
Tristana makes for very easy turret pushing, and for CLG, they're going to be happy to have secured this win and be looking at a game 4.
Yeah, I think hopefully this kind of eases some pressure off their shoulders now that they have their first win. They're saying, all right, we can do this. The Rakan was something that, like we said before, C9 was using well. In a Baron situation like that, you have to imagine that Smoothie would have found the perfect engage like he had been doing all series long and probably win that fight that we just saw. Instead, the turn is not super clean. And so I think that was a great adaptation by CLG. Get rid of that. It's just what will C9 do now to counter it themselves.
Exactly. Right now, it's all about looking forward, looking ahead to that game 4. I just heard it, CLG moving to blue side, so that's to be expected. We're following the same trends we have throughout the series. But moving back to blue side, how does Champion Select develop? I mean, assuming they don't have to ban out the Rakan anymore, they actually free that ban back up in terms of being able to first pick it if C9 feels like letting it go.
I feel like that's the kind of thing you might see out of C9 is that they give that gamble up. CLG, you know they play the Rakan. They haven't shown a huge preference for it, so you can probably force them to ban it on blue side again. And if they don't, you basically risk that they're going to first pick something else. The Xayah is the interesting thing for me because we've seen it first pick 2 games in a row now, and both times it has looked very underwhelming. I think everyone knows Xayah is a good pick, but these players in particular seem to struggle at executing it correctly.
Right, okay, so what does a proper Xayah look like? What is holding them back from making it a powerful pick, at least in this series?
The big thing about Xayah is that you have so much utility as well as safety. It's a champion right now where you see a lot of these AD carries have some mobility. A Tristana can jump away. You can use that buffer if you time it perfectly to get out of CC.
Right.
And Xayah is very much the same way where she is very forgiving. The fact that her ultimate does not count as a movement ability means when someone roots you, you can actually still cast it. You saw a couple times Maokai would W her and she can go up in the air, but it always feels like these guys are using it a little too slow.
Right.
They're still getting ganged up on through the Xayah ultimate.
The other thing I'd be very curious about is whether or not C9 is willing to, within the first set of pick phase, or the first pick phase, pick up a mid laner.
That's
right?
something that's
We've
yeah.
seen a lot of mid laners, as you mentioned, hit the ban tables, particularly in that second ban phase, and it has definitely hamstringed Jensen's pool, at least in terms of what he can pick from. Perhaps we see the priority of roles moving around here in game 4.
It does feel like there's a potential for Huhi to be more comfortable on that kind of 4th, 5th, 6th champion than Jensen is, because even in that Victor Cassio matchup, he was outperforming Jensen for a large part of that game. So
yeah.
I think you could say for C9 that might make some sense to give a little bit more priority in Jensen's pick. Maybe you drop some on the AD carry. I mean, it's already being last pick, so that's fine. And if you don't get the Rakan, well, then what else is really high priority for your support?
Well, the hope is still there for Counter Logic Gaming as they mounted the first step in a reverse sweep. See if they can even up the score against Cloud9 in game 4. Don't go anywhere.